What's going on, everybody? It's Matt Marchese, also known as Islanders Daily. You're home from the four-time Stanley Cup champions, New York Islanders. And today, the Islanders have finally won their first game of the season, and it was a great game. It was an entertaining game, and the Islanders were able to walk away with the 3-2 win against the Edmonton Oilers, securing their first points of the season and their first win of the season. And like I said, this was a really good game by the New York Islanders. I know I have been extremely critical on them in my last three episodes, as you all know, where I was not holding back any words, and I'm not going to hold back any words today either. But today's words are going to be much more positive than they have been in the previous three episodes, because the New York Islanders were able to win this hockey game. They made it an entertaining hockey game where I actually enjoyed sitting down and watching the whole game. And the best thing is the defense performed like a defense. The defense played extremely well today. And that's what the Islanders needed. And they were out there and they played a very strong game, the defense, today. And that is what the New York Islanders needed to secure this first win of the season. And yeah, it's great. Obviously, we have all been very critical on the defense of the New York Islanders to start this season off, as it was simply put horrendous. But today, the Islanders defense played good hockey. And I can say that confidently. And yeah, I can say, you didn't have to rely on Schaefer playing 27 minutes in a game. It was a more even, more structured, because Waugh could trust his other guys. I have been one of Ryan Pollock's biggest haters. And he played a very good game today, Ryan Pollock. I was very pleased with how Pollock played. He was getting in front of the puck. He was blocking the puck. He played strong defensively. And Adam Pelech also played very strong defensively. They looked like a good pairing defense, which they haven't had for a while, and they looked very strong today. Schaefer and Mayfield. Mayfield obviously was still the weakest of the defense, I think Mayfield still played a pretty good game. Obviously, he saved the goal from going in early on in that first period, getting his stick there, which is a great play. Unfortunately, he would take a penalty right after and give up a goal. So, Scott Mayfield, you take the good with the bad, and he'll even himself out. He'll do one thing good and he'll do something bad. But it didn't come to hurt the Islanders. It did not come to hurt the Islanders. So that was good news. And then obviously, my star of the game by far is going to be Bo Horvat. He also got the first start in the game, but we'll talk more about the offense in a few minutes. I kind of want to continue on talking about this defense. And like I said, Pollock was obviously very good. Pelech was very good. They did what they had to do. I know plus minus isn't exactly a stat that is considered, like prime time, right? It's not like a stat that's super important and people say don't, listen to plus minus. But I still like to see it, because if you're on the ice when goals are being scored, that means you're doing something right. And Adam Pelech and Ryan Pollock were both a +3 tonight. So they played really well, and they were on the ice when the Islanders were scoring, and that's all you could ask for. That is all you could ask for. They did their job. And it's just huge. I'm just so happy that they were able to play good. As somebody who's been extremely critical of Ryan Pollock, he played good today. He played good. He had a point as well, so that's great news. Matthew Schaefer, the other defenseman who had a point, so he keeps his point streak alive. First 4 games in the NHL, he has 4 points, so he's looking pretty solid to start the year off. I do think this was Schaefer's weakest game of his NHL career so far, and he's still, in my opinion, played very good. He was jumping on the rush. He was doing things, that an elite defenseman can do. And that's all we can ask for. That is all we can ask for. He will grow with the game, and he's already at a level where he looks like he will grow with the game. But there's actually a point in this end of the second period when he got on that breakaway where he was hooked by Isaac Howard. They didn't call it, unfortunately. There was 3 defensemen on the ice. I think so. I don't know if my eyes deceived me, but it looked like there was Romanov, D'Angelo, and Schaefer all on the ice together there. So I don't know if they had Schaefer playing wing to end that second period or something, but that was really interesting, and it almost worked out because he did get on that breakaway. But nothing came from it. And yeah, so the Islanders, this was the first game that they got outshot in this game. They were outshot 33-25. So maybe the way to the Islanders winning games is to get outshot. Maybe that's what we got to do, not outshoot the opponent. So the Islanders win, and I want to talk about. This is going to be a kind of a very interesting thing going forward, and I think you have to. David Riddick played amazing today. He did his job. He lived up to his nickname, Big Save Dave, without a doubt. He was making huge saves. I mean, when he made that save on Leon Draisaitl, when they were on the power play, incredible save. The puck bounced out, and then Bo Horvat, Pajot made a great pass to Bo Horvat also. Bo Horvat then goes down and finishes, something I was talking about. The Islanders need people who could finish, and Bo Horvat wasn't doing that. Well, today he sure did. In the first period, it was seeming a little scary when he had those opportunities and wasn't finishing, but he made no mistake about it, scoring that shorthanded goal. But that all started because David Riddick made unbelievable save on Draisaitl, and he was making great saves all night, David Riddick. And going forward, I don't know how you can start Sorokin over David Riddick right now. I'm really someone who thinks that you ride the hot hand until that hot hand falls off, and you keep doing it back and forth. So when Riddick's playing hot, if he goes cold, you put in Sorokin, and if Sorokin starts playing hot, you keep playing Sorokin. But right now, Sorokin hasn't shown me anything that says to me that he should be starting it against the Ottawa Senators in the next game. He just hasn't. And, that's not a good thing. It really isn't, because Sorokin is your multi-million-dollar goalie. Obviously, he's the guy who you want to be going forward. You want Sorokin in. But if he's not performing to a level where he doesn't deserve to play, you can't play him, because David Riddick, he almost won this game for the Islanders tonight. He made great saves. Now, to be fair, the Islanders should have scored 5 goals in that first period, and they couldn't. It seemed like it was going to be one of those games again where they just were not finishing, because they had opportunities left and right, and they just could not score. I mean, Kyle Palmieri, he couldn't hit the ocean if he fell out of a boat with his finishing opportunities. But the Islanders turned it on in the second period and were able to score goals, and they were able to finish. And like I said, it really seemed like they were going down, man. It seemed like it was going to be the same old story. And it wasn't. It wasn't. They were able to come back in that second period, which was huge. And, the Islanders obviously played a good game. Like I said, David Riddick, I've been bouncing back and forth here a little because, I'm just excited that we were able to get the first win of the season, and it was a good win. It was an impressive win. It's what the Islanders needed. You were home. This was a necessary win, because if you lost this game, you're 0-4. Despite it being hockey where it's a long season, 0-4 is a tough thing to come back from. You got to win 4 straight games just to even it out. So this is an important game by the Islanders to win. And I also want to talk about, I talked about Polak and Pelech, but I need to talk about Alexander Romanov, who I was very critical on for playing bad. Easily had his best game of the year. And why? Why did he have his best game of the year? It's because he was physical. Alex Romanov has not been physical so far this season up to this point. It seemed like he was trying to more do stick checking on the Islanders for the Islanders in the previous 2 games or 3 games, and it wasn't working. Romanov moved back to that physical style of hockey, and it works for him. That is Romanov's game. He wasn't afraid to put his body on the line, and I'm so happy that he actually was putting his body on the line, because that's what we needed. That's what we need out of Alexander Romanov, a game like this, where he's going to throw the body. I mean, he nearly laid out Connor McDavid. He had a big hit on Troy Stetcher. And that is the Alex Romanov we know. A hard-hitting physical defenseman who blocks the pucks, gets in front, doesn't let grade A opportunities happen. And it seemed like he disappeared. But today he showed up. He was physical and he did great work. And yeah, that was huge. That was huge. That's what the Islanders needed. So that was great by Romanov. So this goes forward now, and now the Islanders won. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the goals. In the first period here, Edmonton was helping out a lot. Obviously, we dominated the first period. Edmonton was playing some of the sloppiest hockey I've seen. They were turning over the puck left and right. Now, the Islanders had a great forecheck going on early in that game to force these turnovers, but they couldn't buy a goal until finally Evan Bouchard, who played absolutely garbage for the Oilers tonight. I mean, we'll take that. And maybe we gave our voodoo magic to the Oilers and Evan Bouchard, because Dude, that guy he reeked tonight, Evan Bouchard, and he's usually a solid defenseman. I mean, as solid an offensive defenseman he can be. But Barzal, I don't know what he was doing. Barzal just stripped that puck, got on the breakaway, and what a shot by Barzal. He went bar down on Stuart Skinner, and I was felt good there. It felt good when Barzal went bar down there, and I was like, okay, that's good. Barzal, having a shot like that, that bodes confidence, and that's what Barzal needed. I remember they said, he didn't score a goal since January 11th on TV, they said. And I was like, wow. I knew he was injured, but that's a long time. So hopefully this gets, that momentum going for Barzal. And he played really good today, having 2 points on the day, Matt Barzal. And, yeah, he had a beautiful pass to Bo Horvat on that power play goal, obviously. And, yeah, it was good. It was good. This is what the Islanders needed. This is what they needed. And obviously, we had Bo Horvat shorthanded goal. And I know people have been hard on J.G. Pageau and have been wanting him to be traded and everything. I think Pageau has played great so far this season. I think he has played very good hockey, Pageau. And he made a great pass to Bo Horvat, who, again, Evan Bouchard just did not care about Bo Horvat. So he was able to get wide open on the breakaway. And what did he do? He finished. He finished. And that's what we needed. He scored that big-time goal, and yeah, that was huge. And then he scores the third goal for the New York Islanders on the power play. I think the power play struggled tonight, but they came through when it mattered most. And that is something we didn't see from the Islanders at all last season, is having a goal or special teams power play goal happen when you need it to happen. That was not happening with the Islanders. It happened today. And that could be a confidence booster for this power play. I mean, I feel like I've done a complete 180 with how I've been acting these previous videos, losing my mind. But like I said, I'm here to give the truth. I'm not going to hold back words. I'll say when things are going bad, and I'll say when things are going good. And this was as good of a game as the Islanders could play tonight, and it was well-deserved. And also, I was very harsh on Cizikas, McLean, and Holmstrom. Do I think that line played great tonight? No. But were they serviceable? Yes. I think they did good work in the defensive zone. And I really wonder if Simon Holmstrom elevated those two guys' games, because Simon Holmstrom looked very strong on that line, obviously having a couple really good opportunities for the Islanders. I mean, McLean and Cizikas didn't have any offensive opportunities, but they were playing better. I mean, Cizikas put his body on the line, had a great block. He got a little hurt, but he came back in the game. And that's all we can ask for. This is the Islanders who we were asking for. Obviously, not a lot of people think we can make the playoffs. I still, like I said, when things go good, I'll act like we can win the Stanley Cup again. And when things go bad, I'll act like we're the worst team again. But the Islanders did their job tonight, and that's all you could ask for. Bo Horvat scored a hat trick, which was great. I can't really say, the only player who I can say played bad for the Islanders tonight is probably Anders Lee again. And it's a shame. And that third line really wasn't out that much in the third period. But I thought Shabanov played good, but Anders Lee just doesn't have it anymore. And it sucks because I think the Islanders as a whole played really, really good. And Anders Lee, it's still like I'm still saying he didn't play that good of a hockey game, which makes me feel bad, but it's the truth. It is the truth. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And yeah, so obviously it got nerve-wracking there at the end with the empty net. I feel like it always does with the Islanders. I feel like they can never just cleanly end it off, score an empty net quickly, but they did score one with 8 seconds remaining. And the Islanders were able to pick up that first win of the year. That is what we needed. Obviously, I talked how we scored the important power play goal, but we went 1 for 5 on power plays. Obviously, want to do better. But the penalty kill did a good job shutting down the Oilers' high-powered offense, causing the Oilers, to go 1 for 4 on the power play. So we solid penalty kill. Obviously, it's tough to, when you give 4 power plays to the Oilers, it's going to be tough to kill all 4. But I think the Islanders did good work there. And they say your best penalty killer is your goalie, and David Riddick was. He was making great saves, and that's something we haven't seen out of Sorokin in the first 3 games, was coming up with big saves when he needed to. And that's what David Riddick did today. So I know Patrick Waugh said the plan is to start Sorokin against Ottawa on Saturday, but I just think you got to keep rolling with Riddick right now. I mean, I think I gave Riddick easily Ottawa, and then if you want, you can give Sorokin San Jose. But I don't know why you'd bench Riddick after playing this game. He obviously, in my opinion, deserves to play on Saturday. And in fact, the Islanders, they came out and it felt like they played with urgency, right? That's what it felt like. That first period, they were flying. They were trying to get things going, which they haven't been able to do. Their first two home games where they went down super early and super quick, they did not want that to happen again. And they were playing with high pressure and urgency. And that's all we can ask for as fans. This is the Islanders us fans deserve to see. Not the ones from the first three games, this team. Because this looked like a whole new team. I mean, the Oilers are the reigning, Western Conference champions. They were in the Stanley Cup the previous 2 years. The Oilers are a good hockey team. And Winnipeg and Washington are also good hockey teams. But you got blown out by them. But here you go. You play a little better on Edmonton. You win. Maybe you can start building up some momentum here going forward. Maybe you can go on a little win streak. Ottawa's obviously without Brady Tkachuk for a while with that injury. Then you play San Jose. Then you get Detroit, Philly, and Boston. Obviously, there's still some good teams in there. I think Detroit's a very solid team. Boston is always going to be a tough game no matter how good or bad they are. Philly, Metropolitan, the division. But all of a sudden, these games become winnable. Obviously, we'll see how they play against Ottawa. But I'm back to going on the faith train here. But I know I shouldn't. With how I've acted in the last two videos. But this looked like a brand new Islanders team, and they came out firing, and they deserve this win, and that's one. That's one win. You just needed one on the board to get it going, so hopefully they can keep it going. So that's going to be all for today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed this more calm episode, this more happy episode. And as always, let's go Islanders.